Hello everyone, welcome back. So before we look into the differ feature, let's first understand the lazy loading. So lazy loading is the process of loading resources on demand instead of loading on the initial page load. Um, Instead of loading all the UI upfront when the page initially loads, lazy loading defers the loading of unnecessary content until the user interact with the page. Lazy loading reduces the initial page load time and ensures that users can start interacting with the application as soon as possible while non-essential parts of the application load in the background. It will reduce the required bandwidth and the server load. So basically, Angular 17 introduced the next level of lazy loading feature using @defer control block. And lazy loading also applies to the dependencies of the content of the block, which is including the component or a directive or a pipe. Anything can be lazily loaded too. So there are different ways to defer in Angular with the version 17. One is on interaction, the first one. So let's understand how this defer works on interaction. So right now I just created a basic project where there is nothing other than this heading. So let me just start with writing the code on how we can defer on interaction. So I'll take a div. I'll just push this content to the center for our better visibility. I'll just add what we are testing. So defer on interaction. We wanted to validate. We wanted to test right now. So defer goes like this: @defer, and the first one that we wanted to test is defer on interaction. It will be small letter. So we'll understand what is on interaction. Okay. Otherwise, there will be a placeholder where we can say see the deferred content. So let's understand what it is. So basically what we are saying, the defer on interaction is the way it works, since this is one of the lazy loaded feature. So when the user click or interact with this particular content on the page, that's when this content is going to be displayed and this will be hidden. That means until the user click this particular content or interact with this content is not going to be displayed. So that means it is completely hidden, not even rendered onto the web browser. Let's check how this works. So right now you are seeing click to see the deferred content. That is the content that is displayed on the page load. So let's check how this content is right now. Let's go to the body. So now if you see, click to see the deferred content is the only piece that is rendered onto the browser DOM, but this content is not displayed, not even rendered onto the browser DOM. Once I click this content will be enabled. Now let's check. I'm clicking it. So when I click this one, if you see, this content interacted, so displaying this message. So the message is changed and the other content is removed from the DOM. This content is removed from the DOM. So that means on interaction works only when we interact with that particular content. That's when it will be displayed. Okay, this is how the on interaction defer works. So since we looked at on interaction defer, now let's look at on hover defer, how it works. It will, I'll just change the title. So on hover, so the same content and not interacted, it will be hovered. So hovering meaning just touching it instead of clicking it. So now let's check on this particular page. If you see the content under the body, if you see, click to see the deferred content, not even clicked right now. Hover to see the deferred content. Hover meaning just moving the browser cursor onto the text. Okay, now let's expand this and see. So right now, hover to see the default content is visible. Now I'm just hovering the keyboard, I'm just hovering the mouse cursor. If you see, the content is changed. I did not even click, I just hovered on top of that message. Now the content is changed. So hovered, so the displaying this message. So deferred on hover, as soon as without even clicking, just hover onto that content, it will be displayed, and the other content is removed from the browser DOM. Okay, this is how the defer on hover works. So the third way of deferring is on idle. So let's write defer on idle. This is the title that I'm just changing. So basically it will be idle, defer on idle. Idle meaning, so when the browser is completely display the complete page content and everything is settled on and idle, that's when this content is going to be displayed. Okay. So this is for this particular idle, we no need to interact or hover or do anything. Automatically Angular, when this whole page is rendered onto the browser, when the page is stable and idle, that's when it will automatically display. You cannot directly see it on the browser. If you see, so by directly you are seeing this content because there is nothing on this page to display. If there is large content that we are displaying and after that the page will be idle, then that's when the message is going to be displayed. But currently, since we don't have too much content on this particular page, so by default you are able to see that content because this is idle already. So the next type of defer is on timer. So let me just change it. So basically on timer works. The deferred content will be timely displayed. Like for suppose if I want to display this the content after 5 seconds or after 10 seconds, it will be displayed accordingly based on the timing. Let's just change the this one to on timer. So it will be the timer, and this timer will expect the parameter like 5 seconds or 50 seconds or the time, and so basically okay, 50 seconds finished. So displaying the content. Waiting on 50 seconds to finish. So the way it works is, right now if you go to the screen, so waiting on 50 seconds to finish, after 50 seconds automatically it will display the other message. Let's see. I think 50 seconds is too much. Let me just reduce it to 30 seconds or maybe 15 seconds because it is taking time. Let's say 15 seconds, okay, so that it will render faster. So waiting for 15 seconds to finish so that the deferred content is going to be displayed on the page. Yep. Now let's test one more time. So now it is waiting 15 seconds, and if you see, waiting for 15 seconds to finish, which is on the browser DOM. Let's see how this is going to change after 15 seconds. So now the 15 seconds finished. That's why this particular content is displayed, and the other content waiting for 15 seconds is completely removed from the DOM. So this is how it works. Since it is removed, the performance of the application is going to be much faster compared with keeping the content in the browser and hiding it from the screen. So the next type of defer is defer on viewport. That means when the user navigate or scroll down to that particular place of the content, that's when it will be deferred and displayed. Let's see how we can do that. So now I'll say defer on viewport. Viewport is the screen. Viewport meaning this whole screen is viewport. Okay. Now I'll just change this to viewport. Defer on viewport. Defer on viewport, and viewport reached, so the displaying the content. Waiting for user to scroll to the viewport to see the message. Okay, so now what we'll do is, so we have these two right now. Directly it is displaying viewport reached, so the displaying the message. Now since this is within the same screen, right away it is interacted. Now I'll push this to the below this particular content viewable viewport, so that we can test this properly. What I'll do is I'll add height of 700 pixel to this content. So now you are not able to see that particular content, viewport content. Let's see. So now if you see, waiting for user to scroll to the viewport. Okay, now since this scroll bar, when I scroll this one to that particular place, automatically it will come under the viewport, and it will change the value and display the other value. Let's see. I'm scrolling it. See, now I scrolled to this particular content, suddenly viewport reached, so displaying this message. Okay, let me just check one more time, show it one more time. Okay, now right now if you see the deferred content for the viewport, it is still waiting. So since it is not visible right now on the viewport, viewport meaning the browser web page, now I am scrolling down to that viewport. Yeah, now I scroll down to see this content, right away it is displayed. This is how the viewport works. So if you want to hide something, for suppose if you have a big long page where you are showing lot of content, and you wanted a user to scroll down, that's when you wanted to load the page, so that the page performance of the page is going to be much better and display the content whatever is needed in this viewport right now. And after that, when the user scroll it, that's when you can load and defer the leftover content, so that it will improve the performance of the web page. So that's all from this session. See you in the next video. Thank you.